I love how I just got a 1, not even a 3, 2, 1. I mean, just kidding. Hi, everyone. We're so excited that you have chosen to join us tonight. Special night here in the Matthews bookstore. It is collaborations night, and we are releasing a brand new book today. Everybody in the room, we got a live studio audience. Yes, they're all scared to death. I'm just kidding. They're not. The book is called The Homeschool Journey, Insights and Encouragement and Lessons for Moms, from moms like you. This entire book has been written by moms who have been in the trenches on the homeschooling side. They are either currently doing it or have done it for generations with their own children and their families as well. And so much insight, so much encouragement. I was actually talking with all of our ladies in a podcast today, actually 2 podcasts today, on how appropriate I feel like this book is right now. It's May, and we have lots of kids that are graduating school. We have lots of parents that are trying to decide, what am I going to do next year? I think I want to try something different. Maybe traditional schooling isn't necessarily what we should be doing. This is the book for you. All right. If you even have any questions from people who have actually done it, they've done the work, they've worked through it with their kids, they've seen so much, not only encouragement, but success in the process of it all. This is the book you want to get. And if you have a family friend or maybe a homeschool parent who just needs some encouragement today, this is for me, because I told all of them in the room, I started the homeschool journey about a year and a half ago, and I need to know all of the things. It is not easy, but you don't have to do it alone. And that is what these incredible authors have shown us in the process of pouring their life out onto paper, as one of us said today, bleeding on the paper, if you will, just being able to share their life with you so that you find encouragement in the journey and maybe, just maybe, a little spark to take a next step of faith. All right. So I want to invite with me up here to we still don't have a name for this table. If you have a name for the table, put it in the chat. Okay. All right, I'm going to butcher it. I knew it. Christy's looking at me like she's not going to do it. Christy Demetriadis. Did I? Yes! Yeah, that deserves a cheer. We're going to work on this crowd. We're going to work on them. Okay, so your chapter, which I'm so excited. We had such a great time in our podcast today, and you had a chance to talk a little bit about it, but your chapter is called Comparison. I promise you aren't doing it all wrong.
That is true.
I'd like to say thank you from someone who's in the middle of it. So why don't you tell those who are watching right now a little bit about your chapter?
Okay. So my chapter is about comparison. And there's so many things that I'm convinced I'm doing wrong when I read the books of, the homeschool people who've gone before me, and my kids never did what they said they were supposed to do.
Oh, how dare they?
So it's just to remind people that just because it's different doesn't mean it's wrong.
And that is so crazy because every child's different.
Oh, definitely.
So what are some of the things that you found in your journey were totally out of the ordinary from what the books said?
Oh gosh.
I know I went there.
I know. Like all the things. I mean, we didn't have a quiet home necessarily, or we moved a lot. We lived in lots of different houses. We lived in different countries. We no 2 days ever looked the same. So it was never, okay, sit down and let's go through this book and let's do it. I had one who would read upside down on the couch, or, playing with cars. I would have one who would sit right beside me the whole time I was reading books to her. And so it just never, what worked for one didn't necessarily work for the other.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And you just worked it out.
We did. And it's figuring out what works best for each child.
Yeah.
So the one playing with Legos on the floor is still getting as much out of the story as the one who's sitting right by me.
And the one upside down.
Yes. Yes.
But not to compare yourself with other people who are doing what you're doing. And, like we were talking about, I wanted the folder with all of the pretty colored things. And I realized I can't do the folder with the pretty colored things. Didn't have time for it, but that's what it is. So what is one hope-filled thing you would love for somebody who's watching right now to catch from your chapter?
that just because your school doesn't look like what you think it should look like, or what your neighbor says it should look like, or what your family says it should look like, doesn't mean you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, that's so good. Y'all, let's give it up for Christy. Yes, so proud. So very proud. So if you're watching right now, again, the book is called The Homeschool Journey. You can find it on Amazon.com. We will post a link in the chat right now. But the other thing I want you to do if you're watching online is you are just as much involved in what is happening right here as we are. So why don't you post in the chat just some love for each and every one of our authors if you are here because you're connected to one of the authors that you're going to see tonight, or someone that's actually has a chapter in this book. Give them a shout out online. We would love to see all the little hearts and all the thumbs up and all of the things because, again, you're just as much involved in this as we are in this room. And there is an incredible group of people in this room. So the next author I would love to invite up to the table, maybe that should just be the name, the table, is Miss Rose Ward, all the way from Canada. She said, I came a mighty long way. Is what she said. Yes, yes, you did. So your chapter is called A New Mindset. Why don't you tell everyone watching tonight a little bit about your chapter?
A new mindset it's a heart posture. It's not just the mind, it's the mind and the heart connection for all of this. And we didn't fit any mold that was out there. I have 4 kids, all different. They learn different, their styles are different. And we also dealt with health issues. Okay. So that is a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
And so including myself as the mom and the teacher, and we have to learn, we don't have to be so hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
Your kids will learn. There will be breaks. There will be times that you can't do what you would like to do, but God works it out.
Yeah.
And they still learn and they still grow. And the most important thing is just to be there with them. And if you are having trouble, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
And especially with moms dealing with really chronic health issues, I had to learn to ask for help, and it's okay to do that.
That is not easy.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
That's not easy for any mom to ask for help. But I love what you said about just being present.
Yes.
And being present for each kid looks a little different.
It does.
That was a beautiful thing. And we were talking about it even at dinner today.
Yes.
Just being present for your twins, because you have twins, both of them totally different. They think completely different, but being present for each one of them looks a little different.
It does.
Right.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful thing. Each individual way that they interact with you and what you do with them. And it's just meet them where they're at.
Yeah.
And they'll meet you where you are at. It's I've been on that kitchen floor on my knees, and they'll come put their hands on and pray for me, so it's really nice.
What a beautiful, beautiful thing. So what is one hope-filled thing you would love for somebody watching tonight to catch from your chapter?
Now this I'm excited about. Okay.
First one to be excited about the one hope-filled thing, because they're all spinning their heels. What am I going to say?
Because God is so good. And he kept giving me identity. Okay. It is not what the world says. It is not the circumstances of the world. It is not what people tell you are. It's not what you say you are. It is in Christ. And if you can understand the heart of God for you, if you can know who he is and who you are in him, it changes everything. New ball game. And it's not our emotions or our feelings.
Yeah.
If I'm angry, I'll give you an example. If I'm angry and I feel that emotion and it's just terrible, and that doesn't define, I'm not defined as anger, right? So the most important thing is to understand who you are in him. And I speak about ways to do that. And I have resources for that people can download. It's free, that people can download for that, especially for moms, because if we can understand the sacrifice that Jesus made for us, that he took everything for us, we are a new creation. See, the mind or the soul is the mind, will, and emotions. Then you have your spirit man. Okay. When we know who he is and we accept who he is, and he was beaten beyond recognition for us. He defeated death for us. If we can get that, when we accept him, we have Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And we're a holy setting for God. And when we learn to walk in the authority of Christ, that is one of the best gifts we can give our child's imagination and their education, because the more we know him, the more we are guided by him, the more we understand who we are, they will too, and they will move that way. They will move towards him. And this can be quieted.
Yeah. Whole new mind.
Yeah. And it's just it's a process, but you can get there. We can all get there.
I love it.
And walk in that authority and love our children well and show them who he is in his heart.
I love that. So we're super proud of you. And you have a new book coming out soon too.
Yes.
So you'll be able to connect with each and every one of our authors when you buy the book on Amazon.com. And there's a link in the chat. Go buy like 3. High five. I'm so proud of you. Y'all give it up for Rose. So right. When it comes to anything in our life, especially the homes, I would definitely say when it comes to the education of our children and the connection that we have with our families, mindset is everything. Mindset is everything. We're going to communicate out of a negative mindset, or we're going to communicate out of a positive mindset. We're going to communicate, and not only that, but connect with one another on a totally different playing field whenever our minds are in alignment. All right. So I love that. I'm so excited about our next author, Miss Julie Gutierrez. And I thought I was going to use that. Yes. And your chapter is the importance of celebration. So tell us a little bit about all the things, my dear.
Well, celebration is not something that gets recognized at a core level often.
Right.
We're really quick to celebrate a win of a sporting event, or a win of a gymnastics achievement, or a math test. But when we celebrate, and we make celebration a core value for the family, and we celebrate character, and we celebrate strengths, and we celebrate moral victories.
Yeah.
It impacts identity. And so to Rose's chapter on mindsets, if you want to start rooting that mindset, you start celebrating the victories of character and moral character, and those strengths, the wiring of your child. When they have those victories, it just makes all the difference in the world.
Oh my goodness. It really does. And we were talking about this at our table. We talk a lot, especially in the podcast room, we talk a lot, but this particular subject of the celebration stuff, but we were talking about character in general. That's just not something you get a whole lot of on a private school setting, public school setting, traditional, honestly, traditional scholastic setting. But we have a very unique opportunity as a homeschool parent to be able to hone in on very specific characteristics, modesty, integrity, all of those things that we want our kids to live a wholesome, godly lifestyle, one that is strong, one that is rooted in who he is. They're not going to get that at the level we would want them to get that. My kids were in Christian private school for a long time, but they will get so much more from me as the parent than they would in a classroom with, 18 other kids. And we're able to celebrate, but to take the time to celebrate, I love the fact that you wrote about that, because you're right. That is not something we celebrate often enough.
And the other thing that the chapter focuses on, which I think is so important, is determining what you want to celebrate in your family. What do you want
to see?
What do you want to see?
Yeah.
How do you fill your base? So, if you get the book and you read the chapter, you'll be able to learn how to do all that.
You'll be learning because you give really wonderful insight on how to celebrate those things and what to look for. With the end in mind. I love that. With the end in mind, with the model citizen. I tell my 11-year-old this all the time. I want you to be a model citizen. I want you to be a model citizen. What does that mean? The kindness in nature. Yes, wisdom comes with a lot of that too.
Yes, but it also helps to celebrate the individuality of each child.
Yes.
So
my goodness.
It takes away that whole comparison and that competition. So,
which again, we're building. We're building off of each chapter here. So what is one hopeful thing you would love for people to catch?
I would love for people to understand that when you celebrate character and the makeup of your child, you can change a legacy for your family.
Yes.
We focused on this with our kids, and we did so many things to capture their individual moments in their growing up. And my daughters now are doing it so much better than I did. And I am so proud of them. But I am watching it turn. When
Yeah.
you read the book, you'll hear some not so great celebratory moments in my youth and how it shifted. And so you see that building of each generation when you invest in that process. And it's huge.
Yeah, what a beautiful, beautiful message. Thank you, my friend. Very
you.
proud. Boop. Y'all give it up for Julie. We're going to work on y'all in this room to be a little bit quicker. I'm watching. For those of you who are watching online, if you've just joined us, our brand new book called The Homeschool Journey is out right now on Amazon.com. We're going to put the link in the chat. Do us a favor and give us a shout out for your favorite author that's in the room. If you're connected to someone in the room, or just give a shout out to them all, because they've done a phenomenal job giving their life experience when it comes to homeschooling and education, whether it's traditional and shifting from that, or private school and shifting from that, but their own experiences in raising their children, some of them raising grandchildren as well. And if this is something that you have been wanting to dive into, what better way to dive into understanding the homeschool journey than from people who've actually done it? All right. Myself included, just gleaning so much wisdom from each and every one of these authors. And I would love to welcome to the table Miss Brooke Stark. She's a coming. You take your time. Brooke is on her way. She wrote Chapter 8, which is called The Heart of Homeschooling, Overcoming Fear with Faith. So, Brooke, why don't you tell us a little bit about your chapter?
In this chapter, I wanted anybody who is questioning homeschooling or questioning continuing to homeschool to really think about what they've prayed through, what they've had the Lord minister to their hearts, and what their calling is, because I do think it was a calling to homeschool my children, and step out one little baby step at a time in faith, not try to absorb their entire life in your mind. When you start looking at curriculum or start talking to people and questioning, can we do this? Can we meet all the needs of our children for the duration of their schooling career? Just step out in faith, one little moment even at a time, moment by moment sometimes. And that's how you get through a homeschool day often, is a moment to the next moment. And you can eradicate fears of, what if I mess up, or what if I miss out on socialization for my children? That's a big thing. Everybody's, how are they going to be socialized? And somebody was even talking in here about children turning out as oddballs, and just not able to function in the culture. And what better way than to help shape your children's worldview right at your feet, right at your side, upside down, playing Legos, and all of these things. And so with 2 decades behind us with this, you can come to a book writing and have your oldest child, who's grown and married,
in the room right now,
and drive you here and support you, and she becomes your friend.
I love
through
it.
the process. And
I will admit, diving into their entire life story, their first year of homeschooling was me. I'm like, how is this going to be when she graduates? She's only in the 4th grade. But handling it one day at a time, one moment at a time is the key. But I think the heart of that is staying at the Father's feet, casting all your cares on him, and just pouring out, because he can handle it. He can handle every care. He can handle every question. In fact, he wants you to bring your questions, because he can be for you in those moments what no one else can, and that's the bringer of wisdom, right? But what would be one hope-filled thing you would love for somebody to catch from your chapter?
it sounds so cliche, but you can do it. You can.
I don't think that's
do it.
cliche at all, because there are
You
days I'm like,
can-
I don't know if I can
you
do this.
can do it. And yes, and really, we've had foster adopt, we've had
that's right, yep.
biological, we've had loss,
Yeah.
we've had illness, we've had life going on at
Yeah.
the same time as homeschooling. We've had a plethora of needs and obstacles. We've had gifted to ADHD and some special needs and
Yeah.
all of that. And it's not because the tools are within ourselves, but because God equips us for what he calls us to.
Beautiful.
He is enough.
He is enough.
enough.
He knows.
Yeah.
Well, Brooke, thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
Y'all give it up for Brooke. We're so proud. Yes. I'd love to invite Miss Lisa Sutherland. She just gave me the stank eye. Everyone in the room said, I'm watching you. I'm watching you, Lisa. I had to bribe Lisa to come. I'm just kidding. I didn't. I love her so much. Lisa's chapter is called The World is Your Classroom, Lessons Beyond the Book. So why don't you share a little bit with our crowd tonight about your chapter?
Well, my chapter was basically trying to inform parents when they're trying to decide about homeschooling that it's not all about books. Kids can learn when you're outside, when you're on a field trip, just at the zoo, and it's amazing what they do pick up just peripherally. They hear things, they comprehend. And they're just sponges. They're just little sponges, and they are listening all the time.
Yeah.
And I think it's a blessing, really, to be honored enough to teach your children. I mean, like you said, we've all said that you're the first teacher anyway.
Yeah.
And so why should it stop? I mean, and then that's what I would say to mothers who are sitting there, or fathers that are going, I can't do this. Yes, you can. There are so many resources out there now that weren't there 20 years ago. And there are so many folks that are doing it now that weren't doing it 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And so there are groups that you can be a part of that can be supportive in your church, especially in your church.
Yeah.
And they have their built-in little, friend group. So there's a lot of resources out there that a lot of parents, they worry more about curriculum than they really should, especially at the beginning. And I just want them to understand that you don't have to be, just limited to that.
Right.
So, yeah.
I would say, because I've been on the public school, I was a public school teacher for 7 years, and then I also taught in private school as well. And now I'm homeschooling my kid. I feel that the mindset of the world is your classroom, there is more opportunity for them to actually experience life and experience the world through homeschooling than there is in tradition. A lot of the times, not in every place, but a lot of the times in a traditional schooling environment, which gives every sense of a child an opportunity to learn within their own understanding, and within a very small, an intimate space.
Exactly.
Right. And I'm with you on that too. There's so many different co-ops, there's so many different materials, which can sometimes feel a little overwhelming. But again, if we're following even what Brooke said, taking it one bite at a time and one prayer at a time, we find what's best for our kid.
And if that curriculum's not working, then you just change gears.
Then you change gears. You don't have to stick with it.
That's exactly right.
It's almost as if maybe if you're not used to just stretching and having options, guess what? You got options. You got lots of options.
Exactly.
You have lots of and things that are really going to hone in on your own child's special gifts and their special interests. They're all so unique. Every child is such a blessing, and to be able to go past, traditional learning in just a book. I lived reading Rainbow back in the day. Y'all remember Butterfly in the Sky?
Yeah.
All right. But that just brought a whole new world to me, and think that could be an everyday for a kid, to be able to explore anywhere and everywhere. And that's your school day.
That's exactly right.
But I'm in, Can I go back? If I can be a part of it. So what is one hopeful thing you would love for people to catch from your chapter?
I think it's for parents to realize when you see that light come on in your child's eyes and realize they understand that.
They get
They
it.
get it. It's so exciting. I mean, I don't think any job is more just fulfilling than
Yeah.
to realize that your children are understanding and growing, and just it's just amazing to watch. It's just a miracle to watch. And you know them so well, and they know you.
Mhm.
And that's really cool.
Yeah.
And if you didn't invest that time and that effort,
Mhm.
you might never really get to know them well.
Right.
And so I just think that's important. for
And if
folks to understand.
God's placed homeschooling on your heart,
Exactly.
it's there for a reason. Like
Exactly.
he not everyone can necessarily do that.
Exactly.
But if he's placing it on your heart, there's a purpose in that.
And he'll make a way.
And he will make a way, and he will give you the strength and the wisdom that you need to make every day count. He
Exactly.
really can. So thank you, my love. I'm super,
Thank you.
super proud. Y'all give it up for Miss Lisa. So again, the book is called Homeschooling Journey. You can find it on Amazon.com. You can grab a couple of copies. I say grab 10 right now by clicking the link. And give a shout out to all of our authors tonight. We're so, so very proud. Let me tell you something. Homeschooling is not something that just comes about out of nowhere. It is a choice. It really is a choice. And again, if the Lord has put a burden on your heart for homeschooling, he'll give you the tools that you need. And I'm telling you right now, guess what? He just gave you one. It's this one right here. It's this one right here. And not only is this book a great resource for you, but you can actually connect with every single author in this book. So we have authors pages for every single one of our authors. It gives you an opportunity to reach out to them one-on-one and actually ask them for guidance. Real people, not bots, that have been in the middle of the trenches of every homeschooling journey, here for you to be able to glean some wisdom and honestly just have a shoulder sometimes to cry on. That was me for a minute. But little by little, it gets easier and easier. And as things come together, you'll find the community that best suits you. And that is where our next author comes in. I want to invite Peggy Parks up right now. She's coming. You know, Peggy, I'm really excited for you to talk about your chapter, because this is usually the number one thing that naysayers have about homeschooling, and that's socialization. Socialization opportunities for your child and you. Why don't you talk a little bit about your chapter right now?
Well, basically, when I started even thinking about homeschooling, before my children were even born, as a matter of fact, I had dreams in my mind and I wanted to see what the best schooling options would be. I came to realize that there's a lot of stuff going on that kids have to face, and I want to homeschool my own kids. But when I started telling my family and my friends that was my plan, they all told me the same thing. They're going to be weird kids now.
Weird kids.
And thank goodness the Lord created me with a hard head, because I use it for his glory. And I had a hard head about it. And I was like, no, I'm going to succeed at this. And then I started to feel like, okay, I need to do something for myself as well. So included in socialization for your child is socialization for yourself.
Oh, yes.
You got to take care of the caregiver before she can give care.
Isn't that the truth? And there is nothing like connecting with other homeschool parents.
Yes, absolutely.
They can understand you.
You know you're not in it alone.
You're not in it alone. We say that about authors all the time. Nobody understands what an author goes through like another author, all right? No one understands what another, instrumentalist or another musician goes through like a musician. It's the same thing for homeschool parents too. Socialization doesn't just happen on a child's level, it happens on a parent's level as well. And it's actually super easy.
It is.
Oh my gosh, super easy nowadays with co-ops.
Yes. And that's what I did. I created a co-op where there were some other families that I came in touch with that wanted to do homeschooling, but were not able to for one reason or the other.
Right.
So I homeschooled their kids, and my kids had little classmates.
Look at it.
To this day, my oldest son is 18, graduating from the same homeschool, and he's in the room. His mates, shout out Michaela, she's also graduating this year. But I homeschool both of them till about 5th grade. And
Wow.
it was just such a joy, not just to be blessed myself to be able to do it, but to be able to be a blessing to others. So you got to think
Yeah.
outside the box sometimes.
You do. You have to think outside the box. So, what is one hopeful thing you would love for somebody watching right now who might be struggling with this particular thing? What is one thing you would encourage them with tonight?
Well, I would say don't be afraid to homeschool, because when my fears of my kids turning out weird absolutely did not come true. As a matter of fact, they're well-rounded, well-traveled, well-educated children that have experience that many other children their same age will maybe never have in a lifetime. So
Yeah.
we've been able to do these things because of homeschooling. So
Mhm.
don't be afraid. And especially as Christians, we need to make more of an influence in this world. And what better way to make more of an influence in this world than influencing our children?
Yes,
So.
absolutely. I'm so proud of you, Peggy. Thank you for sharing. If you're wondering about socialization, it's all good. They won't be weird.
Yes.
I promise. They won't be weird. So thank you so much. Y'all give it
Yeah.
up for Peggy. That was probably one of the biggest things that I heard a lot in the beginning of trying to decide whether this was the right path to go on. But one thing that I've noticed, my kids are much more attentive to other children. My oldest is 11. She's now going to be a middle schooler. She just finished her 5th grade year, and my littlest is going in kindergarten. And that was something we were concerned about because my kids are very outgoing. And to be at home with mom and dad and homeschooling all day, we've actually been able to find different avenues for them to find socialization, whether it's church groups or co-ops or you name it. But it's changed. It's so wonderful to have things on a different playing field, so they're not feeling like they're having to compete with other people in a classroom for somebody else's attention. It's really been a wonderful thing. So we have one more author with us tonight, and they are joining us online. So as the awesome Dr. Brian is getting us ready for Miss Amy Flannery. Yes, she's so beautiful. Amy, first of all, thank you so much for joining us online. I know you couldn't be here tonight, but it is a joy to be able to have you from
you.
right where you are. So your chapter is called I love this chapter name, by the way, Finding Joy in Unlikely Places, like a math book.
Yes, that's
so
the
why don't you
last
tell
place
us
I
a
would
little
look.
bit about your chapter?
Okay, so when I started homeschooling, I was so excited about it, and I was looking forward to. I had all the plans, and I was nervous. I tried to plan for. I wanted to plan. I was planning for the entire summer, and that was like all the time that I had. And then finally, I had to just dive in and begin. And I have a background in education, so to be able to finally put that to use and educate my own children and be at home with them all day, it was something I looked forward to. And the curriculum I had found that the Lord provided for me was just fantastic, and I knew it was going to be great. And very quickly, we discovered that we're still people, and we have emotions that come in and get in the way of all the most beautiful plans and the most wonderful, fun projects. And they should be just the most joyful, beautiful memories. And all of a sudden, someone's having a meltdown, and I was like, "What is happening? Why is this so hard? It shouldn't
should be
be
perfect.
this hard." So it turns out that the enemy of our souls is also the enemy of our homeschool.
Oh.
And he is doing everything that he can to steal and kill and destroy, and to steal away our joy. And so in my chapter, I talked about the different tactics that he takes to come in and try to take away the joy, and the ways that we can be proactive and bring that joy back into our homeschool, because we want our homes to be places that are filled with joy and peace and as much as possible. And those are fruits of the Spirit, and we can find those by turning to God and asking for his wisdom.
Yeah. That is first of all, there's so much wisdom in that right there. And I'm thinking about the parents right now who are, very hesitant. Maybe they've got a little fear about the possibilities of what could happen. whether it's with their job situations or how their kids would acclimate to it, but to center yourself around finding places of joy. Joy is a choice. Happiness is in little moments, but joy itself is a lifestyle. And to be able to find joy in the journey of homeschooling can change someone's life. And I'm so thankful that you brought that in this beautiful chapter. I don't think it's a coincidence that it's the last one we're talking about right now, because there might be some parents right now who are contemplating whether this is the right step for them, or maybe they've been in the homeschooling journey and they're just not seeing the results that they thought that they were going to see, or maybe their mindset is just not quite where it needs to be. So what is one hope-filled thing that you would love for someone to catch from your chapter, Amy?
Well, it goes along with my theme verse that I've got at the beginning there, and that's James 1:5. And so my takeaway is that when you don't know what to do, God does.
Oh, yeah.
And so
He
you're
sure
not
does.
stuck wherever you are. If you feel like it's not going as planned or the joy is gone, it's not going to have to stay that way.
Yeah. It's there.
Yeah.
It's there. Those moments are there. We have to, like many of us, in fact, Rose was just talking about it a minute ago, we got to shift our mindset.
Mm-hmm.
We have to shift our mindset, and we can find joy in a math book.
Yes.
My 11-year-old would probably beg to differ, but I agree with you 100%. We can find joy anywhere if we will look for it and we will anticipate it. And you just bring that so beautifully in this chapter, Amy. So thank you. Thank you so much. Y'all give it up for Amy.
Thank you.
So very proud. So very proud. So again, if you're one that is watching right now and you are either in the homeschool journey or you're contemplating it, or you know someone who is, and you want to share some encouragement, this book right here, A Homeschool Journey, Insight, Encouragement, and Lessons for Moms Like You, is definitely the book of the summer to grab. Not a coincidence it's coming out right now with every graduation that's going on, with people going from kindergarten to first grade and elementary school kids jumping up to middle schoolers, or even parents and their graduates going off to college. What a beautiful tool of encouragement and lessons to be learned through people who have actually been in it, who are doing the thing. And if you're one of those right now who's always dreamt of homeschooling, that's a passion that the Lord's put in you, this is going to be a great tool for you to take some steps of faith. All right. So if you click the link, it's on Amazon.com. Click the link right in the chat right now. Grab you a couple of copies of this book. Give them as gifts to parents and family and friends that are going through the homeschool journey, or that are going to be going into that homeschool journey at the beginning of this next year. They will not regret it. I promise you. Just some wonderful insight from these incredible homeschool parents. If you are wondering, how can I do something like this? This is not an easy thing to do, but everybody in this room said yes to a tug on their heart to become a published author. By the way, they should get some major accolades for this one. All of them now officially published authors. Maybe you're not quite ready to write a full book yet, but you want some experience in it, or you're seeing these collaboration events that we've been having pretty much every other week, and you want to know how you can be a part of it. Simply go to hopebooks.com/collab. Check out the collaborations that we have available for you. We've got 2 special ones that are coming up real soon. One for business entrepreneurs. If you own a business or you've built a business from scratch, we're looking for authors to be able to encourage those who want to start a business, or maybe they've just had a rough time in theirs and could get some insight from you. It's called Built to Endure. You can click on that particular link, hopebooks.com/collabs, and go to Built to Endure and plug in your information there. We also have a book called The Art of Letting Go, which is a beautiful book on transition and walking through grief with the Lord at the center of it all. We would love for you to be a part of that as well. There are many others on our site, but we would love to have you be a part of what's happening in this room. You could be right here with us in Matthews, North Carolina, celebrating your newly published book. Just hit www.hopebooks.com/collabs or reach out to one of our team by booking a call today. And we cannot wait to see you again in 2 weeks for our next collaboration event. We'll see you all very soon.